5 affordable fragrances that smell super expensive. Now, you know the deal, right? A lot of fragrances are in the hundreds of dollars. And of course, when we're talking about a luxury item, yes, they can afford to charge that much because, well, fragrance is art and art is priced very subjectively. However, at the end of the day, as a practical and pragmatic consumer, as somebody who maybe wants to be a bit on the frugal side of things, it is not feasible to spend so much money on an eau de toilette or an eau de parfum. So let me give you 5 affordable alternatives to some really popular fragrances. I'm eager to share this list with you very soon, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on these 5 affordable fragrances that in my opinion smell super expensive, I'll tell you why I enjoy them so much and what my personal take is on each one of these. But before I dive into the video, I do want to mention that if you're a fan of fragrance related content, and of course, if you love smelling your best, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. It would really mean a lot to me. So here's the thing. A lot of these fragrances are, some designer, some niche. A lot of these are just way beyond what one is comfortable paying for a fragrance. And of course, it goes without saying that back in the day, you would walk into a department store. A lot of them are in the vein of 60, 80 bucks. Those days are no longer, right? Now you walk into a place like Macy's and I purchased YSL's Y L'Elixir for like 180 bucks. And it was the 2-ounce bottle. And I'm thinking to myself, when did this happen, right? When did this surcharge, when did this price hike take into effect? I mean, it feels like just 5 years ago that fragrances were priced very, very affordably and very reasonably. You're not gonna get that anymore. So here we have Zerof Udin. Let me tell you something. I love Udin, right? This is such a beautiful vanilla, coffee, tobacco, citrus. Well, I think Udin Overdose has tobacco and I purchased that one as well. I love Udin Overdose. This has more of like a rum, vanilla, coffee, citrus vibe. Instead of that, you can get Nikos Sculpture. Now, the Zerof is unisex, Nikos is marketed for men, but it's a great fragrance. Pretty cool presentation as well. Glass bottle, plastic cap, and it's stored upside down just like this, but it's a really cool presentation and I dig it. Now, of course, we also have Neroli Portofino by Tom Ford. I like the way that it smells. Of course, it's a bit simple and it's a bit played out and it's been around for a very long time and it's far from being my favorite Tom Ford fragrance. And I purchased it just because of the hype, right? Like many, many years ago, everybody was talking about it. Oh yeah, Neroli Portofino, whatever. So I purchased it. I got it on a split, I think, and I kept the bottle. It's great. It smells nice. I'm a little bored by it now, but it just doesn't last. And this is the main drawback of this fragrance. Instead of getting Neroli Portofino, you can get Citrus Neroli by Dossier. You're not gonna spend hundreds of dollars for a fragrance that's gonna last 2 hours on your skin. It doesn't make sense. For me, it doesn't, right? So Citrus Neroli, comparable performance. I would actually say maybe even just a little bit better, but with this fragrance, at least you can afford to reapply throughout the day. And of course, they've had the intense version or the extreme version of Neroli Portofino. I guess I was so disenchanted by this one, I didn't even consider purchasing the intense version or whatever. And then I think there was also an aqua version, right? That's pretty funny that they would do that. Anyway, Citrus Neroli by Dossier. It's an amazing alternative and one that I'm happy that I acquired. And it's a great fragrance just for casual wear, right? If you're lounging around the house, if you're running errands, if you want to just select a fragrance that doesn't require a Herculean amount of thought. So this is a very popular one for the ladies. Of course, the Tom Ford is unisex. This is marketed for women. It's been around for a long time. Dominic Ropion is a perfumer. This is such a beautiful masterpiece of a perfume. It's an indolic jasmine fragrance with some ambery tendencies in the dry down, but this is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fragrance. One of the best. Alien by Thierry Mugler. Now, of course, this has been around for a long time, and Alien is the sort of floral counterpart to Angel, which is this early 90s masterpiece by Olivier Cresp, and it's just a beautiful gourmand with the praline and the patchouli and the ethyl maltol. This one is a bit more formal, not as playful. This is, I would say, this is the praying mantis and Angel is the dragonfly. I don't know if that makes sense. Here we have Ambery Cedarwood by Dossier. And this one, so this one surprised me. And look at the color of the liquid in the bottle. Now, I would imagine that's on account of the vanilla. So all of the notes are listed on here, which is pretty cool. Sandbag, jasmine, cardamom, orange blossom, cedar, amber. vanilla, heliotrope. So the vanilla, especially if it's a natural vanilla, it will discolor, liquid over time, but this is a really wonderful alternative. So here's one of my favorites. I know it's quite polarizing. People are double-minded about this. Sometimes they love it, sometimes they don't like it. But this one by Frederick Malle is Uncut Gem. And I bought this one shortly after my friend Chris let me smell a decant that he had. And I said, you know what, this is great, right? I know a lot of people were calling it the niche version of Dior Sauvage. I don't get that. I think that's a bit of hyperbole. This one though, it has that sparkling citrus in the opening, the bergamot, it has that musky ambroxan dried down, but there's also this ingredient known as angelica in here. And what the angelica does is it adds this almost herbal vibe to the fragrance. Well, from the company, the Dua brand, you can get Enigmatic Gem. And I purchased this one the moment I saw it on the website. I went on one weekend and I said, they have an alternative for Uncut Gem. And I said, let me try it because I'm really curious to see how close it is. And I'm so glad I purchased it. This is a beautiful, beautiful interpretation of Uncut Gem. And it lasts just as long, if not longer, because it is extrait de parfum concentration. And I mean, in the opening, you can sense a little bit of a difference, but just in like the first 3 minutes, if I'm being honest. You give this one a chance to settle down, it is identical. Really impressed by the quality. And okay, number one spot. So here we have a fragrance that has been around for many years now, about a decade, maybe even a little bit longer than that. I know this one came out after 2010 for obvious reasons. So this one gets compared a lot to Creed Aventus. And of course, it's none other than Hachavat by Nishane. Now this fragrance has a smoky, citrusy, pineapple thing happening in here. So this is a smokier version of Creed Aventus. You take away the vanilla, boom, you get Hachavat. And I think it's wonderful. I love wearing this one. It is quite close to a signature scent for me. I also love wearing Aventus, and I also love wearing Town and Country by Clive Christian, and I also love wearing Supernova and Supersonic by Aaron Terrence Hughes, and I just wear a lot of fragrances that kind of fall within that Aventus territory. So Hachavat is a favorite for me. It's been a favorite for a very long time. But here's the thing. This fragrance just came out. I think when it first came out, some places were selling it in the vein of $80. Do not pay that much for it. Please don't. Don't you ever pay $80 for it. And then I saw there was this one company that was selling it for like 55 and I pulled the trigger. So 55 is a lot more reasonable for this one. I suspect that it'll drop down to the 30 range, right? So maybe between 30 and $40. You give it a little bit of time and it will drop. And I think it's a great alternative to Hachavat. And this fragrance is brand new. Of course, it's not 100% similar, but by Rasasi, it's called Hawas for Him Black. So there's the original, which gets compared to Invictus Aqua. And then of course, we also have Hawas Ice. This is the new one, Hawas Black. I don't know if you can tell, the liquid inside the bottle is so dark and ambery. It's actually darker than the Dossier. And this fragrance, when you apply it on skin, it is super oily. It is a very long lasting fragrance. I actually wore it a few days in a row and immediately it was giving me that smoky Hachavat vibe. It's almost what people would call, and I don't entirely jump on this bandwagon, but what people would call like a Band-Aid-y type of a feeling. And like if you've ever worn Gucci Guilty Absolute and you know how that fragrance smells, it almost has like that dark, smoky, leathery vibe, but with that bright, sparkling citrus pineapple vibe that you get in Hachavat. Try it for yourself. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. 5 inexpensive fragrances that smell super expensive. And these are affordable by most people's standards. So if you want me to do another installment, let me know. Drop your comment down below. I always love the interaction. And of course, if you took anything of value from today's episode, I would really appreciate it if you would consider supporting the channel by clicking subscribe, hitting the bell, and giving this video a thumbs up. It would really mean a lot to me. Thanks again so much for watching. I love you all. And we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode.